on? Yes. Hello, today is October 30th. It's 11:30. We're at the BPUB Annex Building, and this is a meeting of the Finance Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Are there any public comments? No public comments? And we'll go ahead and move to the agenda. We have 4 items here. First item, presentation, discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board's financial performance report for the period ending September 30th, 2025.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Mike Perez. I'm the Chief Financial Officer, and I'll be reporting the financial performance report as of September 30th, 2025. Here we've got the executive summary that focuses on 7 categories. Each one has their own gauge meter, red representing poor, yellow average, and green good. So based on the flow of funds, PUB has generated $8,372,000 year to date to replenish the improvement fund. Our debt service coverage is at 2.52 times, which is well above the 1.25 requirement as per bond ordinance. The fuel purchase energy charge has generated an over recovery of $23 million as of September 30th, and this will be used to offset some future market uncertainty. The FPEC rate for September was set at 0.04517. We did the Risk Oversight Committee did lower the rate in October 10% to 0.04065, and just this morning the Risk Oversight Committee again reduced the rate 5% for the month of November to 3862. So this is good news for our customers. The City of Brownsville cash transfer is higher than budget, and it's primarily due to a lower FPEC rate. We are seeing $1.17 million over budget as far as the cash transfer goes to the City of Brownsville. Personal expenses and non-personal expenses combined are for about $470,000 under budget, so we're doing great. BPB's average bill is lower than both the average MOU bill and the average IOU bill for the 1,000 kWh user. So for the month of September, that average bill is at about $106.24, down to $101.72 for the month of October. The CIP, year to date, we've spent $52.9 million, which represents 69.57% of the total plan. And 100% of the remaining balance has already been committed. And all key financial metrics are currently in compliance. Here we've got the condensed statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. We're comparing current year actuals with prior year actuals. And I'll just be focusing on the first column, year-to-date actuals. So we got operating revenues of $238,228,000. We back out operating expenses of $202,363,000, and we end up with operating income of $35,864,000. Backing out the non-operating expenses of $16,190,000, we end up with income before capital contributions of $19,674,000. Adding in capital contributions of $19,352,000, we end up with an increase in net position year to date of $39,027,000. Adding this to the net position at the beginning of the fiscal year, we end up with a net position at the end of the fiscal year of $514,163,000. I apologize for that. No. Here we've got the condensed summary of revenues and expenses. This is based on the flow of funds, and this is in accordance with, in compliance with the bond ordinance. We do compare year-to-date actuals with the year-to-date budget. I'll just be focusing on the year-to-date actuals again. So we've got operating revenues of $227,048,000. Adding in other revenues of $25,659,000, we end up with gross revenues of $252,708,000. We then back out the fuel and Southwest Regional Water Authority contributions of $78,943,000. And we arrive at adjusted gross revenues of $173,764,000. This is the basis for the city's 10% transfer calculation. So the city is entitled to $17,376,000. We then back out other requirements for the O&M, the non-operating expenses and debt service of $130,122,000, and end up with the balance available after requirements of $43,642,000. We now back out the total cash and utility benefit to the city of Brownsville, that's $17,376,000, and we end up with a balance available for transfers out or available for PUB uses of $26,265,000. That $26 million was used to fund $17,893,000 in CIP and cash reserves, leaving a balance of $8,372,000 to replenish the improvement fund. Here again, the debt service coverage is at 2.52 times. This concludes my presentation. We will be presenting the full presentation to the board this coming board meeting.
Very good.
Y'all have any questions for me?
Questions? No, good performance, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, presentation and discussion of the year-to-date capital improvement plan activity as of September 30th, 2025.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager, and I will go over the year-to-date capital improvement plan activity as of September. And I will also go over a slide prepared by Mr. David Ramirez. Looking at on the left side, the total CIP budget, $76.1 million for FY 2025. The actuals through the end of the year, $52.9 million or 69.6% of the budget. The remaining $23.2 has been committed, which means they will be spent in the next fiscal year. Moving on the middle section, the percentage of budget spent by project type, 89% of the electrical 27.7 budget was spent, 54% of the wastewater $24 million budget was spent, and 74% of the water $19.4 million budget spent. For general and administration, for a budget of $4.9 million, 21 was spent at the end of the year. Moving on the right side, the year-to-date actuals committed by category, and looking at the top 3 under construction, actuals $22.8 million, committed $18.3 million. The grant funded, this is the AMI, the ARPA, and Restore grants, actuals $10.2 million, and the committed $5.1 million. Customer connections, $10.8 million, and for actuals and for committed, $2.2 million. This is the projected the CIP cash flow plan versus actuals, and this is what slide prepared by Mr. Ramirez. You want to go over?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Morning, Chair, committee members. So the original fiscal year 2025 CIP plan was $76 million. However, the end of fiscal year delivered was $52.9 million. That's a negative variance of $23 million due to a number of project schedules shifting into the next fiscal year. It's worth noting that the $52.9 million figure is a relative increase in performance from prior years where the final CIP delivered fluctuated between $30 and $36 million. Nonetheless, back in August of this year, I gave a presentation highlighting the root causes for project schedule delays experienced, which included external entities, constraints, contractor issues, and organizational bottlenecks as the main causes. We have continued to hold CIP project meetings with division directors and project managers to assist them in identifying project milestones and project challenges early on to help them improve their project delivery performance. We plan to implement regular project management trainings company-wide, and we'll continue to meet with staff to monitor CIP performance on a regular basis. That concludes my presentation.
Yeah, just a quick question. So, in general, we had a plan. We're lower than the plan, even though the plan was a lot higher than previous years.
Correct.
And what, I mean, I think we talked about the gap last time, but can you also comment on some of the things that we've done to improve on the execution of those things? I mean, I know there was external and internal stuff, but I don't know if you would be the person or somebody can comment.
Yes, it's obviously a company-wide effort, and we have one of the things we've done is awareness, having more intensive meetings with directors and project managers. we've noticed that has helped to an extent to keep projects on top of priority among all the things that go on and priorities in the organization. But having those frequent meetings, discussions, assistance to pinpoint critical paths and projects, as well as, we have some limited training related to the project management practice, but we are planning on bringing in more regular training to all staff involved in managing projects.
Sure. Yeah, and maybe we won't go through them all right now, but I think it would be good. Last time, you guys did a great job in identifying the gaps, right? There's external factors, there was open positions, there was different things that were contributing to, that were obstacles, let's say. But it sounds like we've also done a good job on the other side, so if possible, can you guys document that as well? You know, we have improved communication, we have improved priority, assigning the priority for different projects. I know we ordered software to help manage, you know, the CIP projects. Maybe we close some of the positions. I'm not familiar with that, but you get the point, right? So let's just not look at the gaps. That's good, because we want to, from our side, we want to help where possible, but let's also document some of the things that we've done that have improved our performance in closing, you know, the CIP projects in particular.
Correct, and we've noticed that some groups have a better grasp on planning early on, considering their available resources, and those are the teams that show that a better performance as far as delivering what they budgeted for, and we want to tap into that knowledge, that practice company-wide.
Sure. Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but I also wouldn't, I mean, if it would be nice if we had a dollar amount on the improvements, you know, but I don't want to create more work, you know, just for that sake, to go through the projects and determine. So it's kind of a high level, but I think it would be good for us to understand what you're doing that is also that's working, right?
We actually do have a lot of metrics. You're requesting a dollar amount on improvements.
It could be a dollar. I mean, in the end, just what is having a bigger impact is your more frequent meetings. Is that all that's contributing now to the execution, or is, you know, just try to determine from more impactful modifications that you guys did that is improving your performance? Definitely.
There's a lot of factors that come into play. Obviously, this year we had big dollar projects like the AMI, which is performing very good. That reflects on the organization delivering a higher CAP at the end of the year. We have other big dollar projects, all Highway 77, ARPA, which are also performing well. And so every year to year, it's going to depend on the projects that we have in front of us. Electrical has had a lot of equipment, large dollar equipment purchases that have been delivered. So it's a mix. Some factors are within our control. Some factors that just happen to be that we had larger projects that were more straightforward to deliver. But it's a combination of things, and we're trying to do everything that we can, including the trainings and meetings and things like that.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe in the next 2 or 3 months, if you have some data around that, it would be good to see.
Definitely, we'll bring it up.
We'll actually try to provide some of that improvements and metrics to the board in a couple of weeks. I know that you already have a lot of that information, so
Okay.
we'll strive to do that.
Yeah, sure.
So I just will jump in. I know this is a significant change, and it's been very much appreciated. I remember when I first came on the board, talking to another board member, Patricio, for any of you who are wondering, and his concern was the fact that we never came close to our CIP targets. You know, we were 40% completion or less. I don't remember the exact number. So good job, and thank you very much for, you know, bringing PMP into this organization and everything else. I think this is great.
Yeah, I agree with Gerardo, because it seems like we're doing really good, right, for most of this reporting period through June, and then in the last 3 months, that gap has gotten a little bit wider, right? in terms of what was planned and actual. So just want to make sure that that gap, going, let's say for the next 6 months, if we don't, we start to reduce the space between the blue and the red line, if possible, if it makes, business sense, right?
Yes, and that's precisely where the training is going to come into play, because what's happening there at the end, there needs to be more awareness on time, on the time frame of the fiscal year that we're looking at when we're working on our budgets. And what's happening is that we're being a little bit too optimistic towards the end, whereas in reality, the project might be closing in the next couple of years, rolling into the next fiscal year. And those adjustments is something that we're going to be focusing on and working on here next. But that's the explanation for the gaps towards the end.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 3, update from Burt McCumber Longoria LLC on progress related to the annual financial statement audit for fiscal year 2025. Mike?
Yes, so before I introduce our external auditor, I do want to share some wonderful news with the Finance Committee. You probably already received the email, but Fitch Ratings went ahead and conducted their annual surveillance review earlier this week. They released their report yesterday. Well, they completed the report yesterday and released their press release or commentary this morning. So overall, Fitch is upgraded BPUB's bond rating to an A from an A minus. They did see that PUB's financial performance for the combined utility was very strong this past 2 years. So we're very proud of that accomplishment. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Cool, good.
Outstanding, Mike.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So back to the agenda item. So here with us today, we have Jose Diaz with Burton McCumber and Longoria to provide a Finance Committee with the progress update for BPB's fiscal 25 audit.
Good morning, Finance Committee. Again, thank you for having us. Congratulations on the new bond ratings. That's good to hear. So I'm here to give an update on our status. So right now, it's currently going through our plan schedule. We started this week doing field work on compliance related to the single audit that is required. So during the current year, PUB spent more than the $1 million that's required to have a compliance audit on federal programs. So that's what we started. So we're hoping to finalize that this week, and then next week we'll start digging into the financial statement portion of the audit, which is when we're estimated to get the travelers. But right now we're going on as scheduled and as was planned. All right. So,
Good. Questions?
any questions?
No, thank you for the report.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our last item, item number 4, advanced metering infrastructure project update.
Good afternoon. My name is Eddie Hernandez. I'm the Director of Enterprise Solutions, and with me is Jaime Aguilar. He's, what the heck's your role
Division
title?
Manager for Administration.
He's in charge of the AMI group and a couple other groups, so.
I can barely tell you guys apart.
We're here to give you a brief overview of the project and where we are. I'll go through quickly on the description of the project, because I think you're familiar with it, but if you have a question, please stop me. We usually start with the benefits. There are benefits to the customers and benefits to the utility. Hopefully, this will enhance customer experience by giving them more information to work with. We'll have fewer estimated bills. We'll be able to give the customer notifications about various issues like water leaks or hot sockets on electrical, and we actually have a couple examples of that later. Leak detection. We'll have online tools that our customers can use. We have another project that is separate but related to this, a customer engagement portal that will kind of front end. It'll serve as the front end for all customer notifications. And right now we have 2 or 3 different pieces. So what we're hoping is to bring one product in, and this is where the customer will go, either websites or any kind of push notifications that we do. So hopefully that'll come in a little bit later. It'll also allow the customer to manage their consumption a little bit, at least see what's going on with it. We should have quicker outage restoration as we're getting more information. How does it help the utility? We can take more timely and accurate readings. Obviously, we'll reduce truck rolls, and you have everything that's associated with that. Sometimes people don't think about it, but if you have trucks, you need insurance. There's also accidents that occur, so it minimizes that since we're taking the reads remotely. It enhances outage detection. It will help the electrical department in their system planning and optimization. It'll help reduce bill adjustments because we're getting accurate readings, and obviously it takes a read every 15 minutes on electric and water. So if there's a problem, if you have a question on a read, it just doesn't look right. Right now, what we have to do is physically send somebody out there and go, please get out there, go take a read, let's verify that read. Well, we can just go back to the previous read and say, okay, hey, how does the history look? Does it look like there is a leak that's been happening, or is it out of whack, and we need to maybe ping the meter? Again, it'll allow us to do some real-time analytics, theft detection, and improved safety issues. On the AMI solution itself.
Wait, sorry, theft detection?
Theft detection. Theft of service.
Okay. I was like, whoa, this is a great new service. Oh, okay, meter tampering and such, okay.
No, not simply safe. This is a theft of service, whether it's water or electric. If they start messing with the meter, some people will pull the meter and work on the guts. These meters actually have sensors that will tell us if the meter's been pulled or if it's been played with. So that's how we would detect that. The solution itself, on the electric side, we're using Landis & Gyr. That system connects through a mesh IP network. On the water side, we're using Badger water meters. PUB had kind of standardized around Badger previously, so we've been using Badger for, I think, the last 10 years. So in some cases, we're bringing in the complete, like on the older meters, we're replacing the old meters. We replace the meter, the register, and the communication. On the meters that are newer, we thought, well, we don't have to, because the meters have a 20-year life. We just replaced the register and the communications, and we kept the meter. So we're trying to make use of that. We were trying to make use of that throughout the project. In order to have everything communicate with each other, one of the systems that we're using is SmartWorks. That's the meter data management system. So the electric system and the water system will communicate through SmartWorks. SmartWorks then passes information to the other systems as needed. Allegiant is the company that's actually doing the meter installations. They have been excellent to work with. I've never, knock on wood, I've never had a smoother team. They're very professional. They do a great job. They do interact with our customers. We have worked with them to set kind of what the procedures are as far as handling our customers. If there's a question or an issue and a customer doesn't want a meter, they back off. They give us the information. We deal with that. PUB deals with that. They're just going in and setting the meters, the electric and water meters. And they do some other additional work for PUB since we have them on site. It's been very good to work with. The entire solution, the little graphic on the right-hand side, basically we have the meters at your home. They connect through the communication system. The water meters are cellular. The electric meters are RF mesh. It comes into, basically that information comes into the main office at the utility. We receive that information, and then, as I stated, the MDMS passes the different bits of information to the different systems. We've got about 6 or 7 different systems that are involved in this, and I won't bore you with that. Where are we? We started the project in 2024. We're scheduled to complete in March of 27. We've been doing system implementations, the actual different software pieces, integrating them and getting them to communicate and work with each other. That we're getting ready to go live tomorrow as far as testing the systems and passing information back and forth. So that'll be a big accomplishment if we can get through there. Hopefully we'll have minimal, you always have some issues, but but it's, so far, so good. It's looking good. Our total budget is about 29.7 million. To date, we've spent 13.8, so we have about 15.9 remaining. As far as expenditures are going, I think we're pretty much on schedule, maybe a little bit ahead. On the milestones, we've installed the head-end systems. They're online. So we're actually able to go, the head-end system is the system that actually communicates with the meter. So Badger has its own head-end, and Landis and Gear has its own head-end, and the head-end systems communicate with the MDMS. So the head-end systems are online. The meter data management system is online. The RF mesh network has been installed and is reporting. Our initial deployment area meters, if you remember at the very beginning, we had about 4 or 5 different areas of town that we had installed the meters in. So those are, they've all been, the initial deployment area is complete, and we're already working on some of the other areas. What we did was, the north side of town is where the most growth has been. So when we put our plan together, we decided, well, let's start there. You know, we're gonna do the IDA first because that's our test area. And that's where, once we go live, we'll be running data through there. But now that they're complete with that, let's have them start on the north side to start alleviating the pain there, because it's very difficult for us to get districts 20, 19, 18 read in a timely fashion because there's just been so much growth over there. We're not balanced anymore. So that's kind of how that plan's been working. And we've also done, the billing testing is in progress currently. Savings. Just as an aside, we have had some savings in the project. A lot of times you all will hear me talk, when I come for different change orders or amendments, I'll tell you that I'm pulling money from our contingency fund. Well, when we started the project, the contingency fund was zero. The way we built up the contingency fund was through savings. When we went through and did the final contract negotiations, in some cases we were able to save some money. In a couple other cases, we spent a little bit more. So, you know, there's the balancing that happens there. And then there were some things that we identified that we thought, hey, we can do that. You know, instead of paying you, because it was in the contract as we went through them, we said, hey, we can do that. PUB, we have PUB staff, or we have facilities that we can use. Let us do that. And that's how we built up that contingency fund of, I believe it, we got it up to about 2.1 million at one time. So a couple of the things that we're doing, meter lid replacement program. There we saved approximately $90,000. So instead of having other people come in and do that, we hired temporary staff to come in and do that, and we were able to do it a lot cheaper. There's some pipe identification going on. I believe the environmental area was required to go and test, do test sampling throughout the community on about 16,000 different sites to see are they lead pipes? You know, what's connected to your meter? The pipe that goes from the meter to the home. So we worked with environmental and said, hey, we've already got these guys working for us. They're here. You know, if you have to go hire a group to come in and do that for 16,000 residences, you're going to pay $200,000 or $300,000. We were able to get them. We got a quoted price of about 65 cents per site because they're already there. They're already installing the meters, so all they have to do is a little scrape test. But if you had to bring people in to do that, that's a whole nother thing. The biggest area where the biggest savings we had was in the warehousing contract with Allegiant. Strictly on the warehousing, we saved about 280. In total, we saved close to $1 million there on that contract because we were able to, as we went through the contract, we realized that, well, as they take meters in, they have to warehouse those meters. Well, we realized, well, we have a warehouse. So we worked with our purchasing and warehouse department. We have an old warehouse back here that was not being used. We were just storing stuff there. All of our warehousing is really done at the 511 site. So in working with the purchasing and warehouse department, they were able to take basically the stuff that we had in the warehouse that was old, either get rid of it or move it up north. we were able to use that warehouse instead of having them going and renting a warehouse. We were able to take advantage of our security instead of having them have to procure their own security and so on. And that's how we were able to save more or less about $1 million. This is what the project budget looks like. Here are the different major vendors. This was the base budget that was approved. You can see it's 29.7. Then here's what we pulled. We built the contingency fund. And then here are the transfers from contingency and the pluses and minuses. This is the amended budget for each contract. Here's what we've spent to date, the 13.7 million. And then here's our balance of 15.9. So we keep track of this on an ongoing basis, you know, day in and day out. And speaking of the warehouse, this is kind of what the old warehouse looks like now. You can see it's been reorganized. Allegiant is basically in that warehouse running it. At first they were very, they were a little reticent about doing it, but we had them come down and visit us and take a look at everything, and they were very impressed with the facilities. This is how it's organized. We have the electric meters, water meters, and other miscellaneous stuff in there. So we're making good use of an asset that was really just kind of sitting there. And when Allegiant's out in the field, they co-brand their trucks so that the customers know that they are working with PUB. And they do have phone numbers and handouts that they can give to the customers in case the customer does have a question of, hey, who are you? What are you doing? And this is what all of their trucks look like. They don't travel in, they don't work in anything that's not branded this way. Any questions so far? Okay, now for the fun part. Jaime gets to do that.
Good afternoon. Before I go into this update, I just want to go back to this one. I will note that Allegiant, their techs, there are local hires. So one thing that they were able to do for us is, or for the community, is they were able to hire local techs. They train them. They're well equipped to work on both the water and the electric meters. As you can see, they did hire 7 water technicians, 2 electrics. The operations support and even the project manager is a local hire. With that said, on Allegiant, we are actively tracking how they're doing the installs. We want to keep track of how the meters are coming in, you know, with the vendors, making sure that shipping schedule is on track. And we also align it with Allegiant doing their installs. So this is as of October 25th. They've installed 37,000 meters, which pretty much equates to 19,780 electric meters, or 39%. And about 17,248 water meters of 30%. If you would notice, the water is lagging a little bit behind. They're about 500 meters off. The reason for that is because it's a lot more time consuming for them to replace a water meter than they would an electric meter. On average, an electric meter, they're 5 to 7 minutes. The reason is because they do take pictures. They're real meticulous as far as documenting. Before they enter the site, they remove the meter, they take pictures of the guts, making sure everything's in order. They put the meter, and then they step back, and then they take a picture on as left. So as is, and then as they left it. They document every single site that they visit. They give us the utility access to their work order system so we can effectively audit and monitor their progress. As far as the water installs, like I mentioned, there are 500 meters behind the way they're mitigating. As a matter of fact, today, a new water meter installer came on board. So we're hoping to alleviate, or at least align the water installs with the electric installs. I know this is a busy slide. This is essentially the head-end system, as Eddie was speaking of. This is for Beacon. This is the water head-end system. One thing I do want to focus on is essentially the flow health. So these are the alarms, or the type of alarms that the water meters are giving us, the utility. I want to concentrate on the leak detected. As you can see right now, 814 possible leaks. The way the head-end system identifies these leaks essentially is continuous consumption per hour for a 24-hour period. Therefore, that's what a leak is. And it does go up to the gallon. So in this case, if you look at this particular graph, you can see about 31 customers have critical, what they identify as critical leaks. This means these customers have 60 gallons per hour over a course of 24-hour period or more. And then you see on the far left side, these are the customers, 609 customers that have a water leak of less than 10 gallons per hour. This attributes to about 250,000 gallons leaked within the last 24 hours. This is at the time that this was taken. I will note that Billing and collections, they have actively contacted these customers to let them know. In some instances, the odd ones, for example, this particular case, this particular customer showed 699 gallons per hour. As you can see in the video right there, there is a gushing water on the customer side of the premise. For this particular leak, the leak started around 10 p.m. on August 25th. We got notified the day after, the 25th. So therefore, we submitted a meter investigation. Me and the AMI administrator went out to the field to go verify this leak, because during this transition time, we are verifying the information that the head-end system is providing. So we did go on site on Thursday around 11:53 in the morning, and that's when we identified that possible leak, or actually the gushing water out on the side of the premise. What we did notice is that nobody was in the residence at the time that we showed up, and it seems that nobody was at the residence for the past few days. We were able to shut off the water from the meter itself to prevent further leak. In this particular case, as you can see, during the course of 2.5 days, the leak was 44,902 gallons. So I will note that without AMI, we wouldn't have captured this leak until perhaps the customer came back on site, a neighbor reported it, or a meter reader would have read it, further down the month. It could be anywhere up to 30 days before we know about this possible leak. Moving on to the electric head-end system. So this is, their head-end system's called Command Center. It's a little bit more busy, but again, I do want to concentrate on the alerts that we are getting. In this instance, I do want to concentrate on the temperature alert. We did have several instances where we went out to investigate, this being one of them, that the head-end system did report a temperature alert. We did perform a meter investigation, and the outcome was that this particular meter is what they call a hot socket, meaning if you can see in the top left where the arrow is pointing at the terminal, it shows a open. So essentially for us, that's a sign of damage. The meter tech that went out to the field, they speak to the customer and notified them that they would have to hire an electrician to mitigate that issue. As a quick status, the AMI meter was installed by Allegiant on August 18. We went back to the pictures as left. There was no damage to the meter at that point in time. The alert for us came in on October 4th, and we were able to do a meter investigation on October 8th. I will note that this is just one sample. We do have a couple more that similar situations. Another instance, the meter plastic did burn because it was a hot socket, so it was a valid temperature alert. And furthermore, the head-end systems do provide additional data, not just alerts. They do provide beneficial data for both engineering analysis, or for the water shops to essentially make planning for future projects or whatnot. In this instance, it gets the aggregate of all the meters that have been installed to date, and it gives us the total electrical usage in megawatts per hour. In addition, it also gives us the recent demand load. So this type of analytical data that we're getting, we are working with engineering to integrate the head-end system to provide that data over to their engineering modeling software. That way they can make better use of the information that we are getting. I will note that in addition to working with engineering, we're also working with pre-treatment, working with the vendors to try to put sensors out in the field for the sensors that they do for ammonia detection and all that good stuff on the water side, making sure that the head-end system is able to grab that information and provide it to the respective departments. Are there any questions?
I think your graph colors were reversed on that last graph. No, this is great. Slightly disappointed, Eddie. I did ask for flood data a few months ago, and ever since I asked, it hasn't rained since. Not sure what your story for that is, but no, this is awesome. I've seen this project, move along my entire time here on the board, and I'm happy to see this come into fruition, minus the lack of rain.
And I think one of the important things to point out is, as we're beginning to get information in, Jaime and his team are looking at that, and as you can see there, we are kind of field verifying that, yeah, this is true, this is correct. But to me, the neat part is that even though we're in the beginning stages of it and verifying the data, we're working with customer service and billing and passing this information like, hey, here's a potential 800 leaks. we're categorizing them into, these are small, just send them a text. These are bigger, make a phone call. These are really big, we need to go visit. And so a lot of the response that we've received from customers has been very, they're extremely happy with it. In one case, we had a customer who verified. He goes, "Yeah, I know, he goes, but I'm very impressed that you all called. I just had the plumber out here like yesterday." And he goes, he goes, "You all have never called me before." And he goes, how did you know?" And so we explained, and they said, "Well, that's fantastic. You know, we'll be able to use this." And we've had other customers that we've spoken with that were not aware. I think we had one customer, we interacted with him 6 different times before he finally found where the leak was. We had to send somebody out there to say, "Okay, look, we're really not supposed to do this, but we're just as curious as you are because we want to verify that the data's correct." That's a big part of it, right? And he couldn't find it. There had been 6 phone calls back and forth, and so finally he said, "Well, could you send some?" I said, "All right, we'll send somebody." We sent somebody out there. It turned out it was his pool. The flow regulator was off, was messed up. But we found it, and so he was very happy because it would have just continued. He would have never known, you know, especially with a pool, it just goes and goes and goes. I think you ran into another customer where they had a leak in the backyard and it was just flowing down into the empty lot. So, you know, there are things like that we're trying to verify, but we're also trying to work with customer service and billing and collections proactively so that they're helping us communicate with the customers and take care of these situations.
Very good, very good.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's the last item on our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.